Oh, and I just got a notification that we're live. So that works. See, look. Oh. And you can't see my phone. Okay, hello everybody. It's Booktube Live. Yay! What was that? Wait, hang on a second. My phone's not working with me. It's Booktube Live. Yay! Yeah, awesome. Yay! So, welcome everybody. And today we have a very special guest, one I'm very excited to chat with. And it is Mark from Richardson Reads. Yay! So let's get him on here now. Oh my gosh. And look, there it is. There he is. Let's have one more. There it is. Yeah. Okay, and who's excited that I'm here? Okay. Wow. I have fun little things to play with there. That was super. Okay, so where is how are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Good, you?
I'm still trying to find all of my buttons and things on here because, as everyone knows, I kind of fuck this up most of the time, which is super. Okay, so I think we're ready, and there it is. And we're on. That's super. So, what's been going on with you, man? You went to a book thing today, correct?
Yeah, we had sunshine, which hasn't been happening very often. And biggest book sale of the year for us. So we go up near Government College.
Oh my gosh.
We just go. It's crazy because we've gone several years in a row, and usually we get like run over by booksellers with their scanners and their boxes and their bodyguards. But this year it was a little better. So we enjoyed ourselves. Tons of Star Trek stuff.
Where was it?
Always, and it's just crazy.
Wow. Fred, knock it off. I apologize. So that's a once a year thing you said?
Yeah, we look forward to it. We actually almost didn't go this year because we had such a bad experience last year, but you know how it is. If it's books, you're going to probably put up a little bit. And like I say, this year was fine.
What makes it like awful? Is it just the booksellers or the people?
It's the booksellers, yeah. They line up the night before. They've got students standing there watching all their boxes, and they take their scanners and they do scooping. They'll come in, they'll just pull up a whole table basically with 5 or 6 people.
Oh, yeah.
Get right under. So if you're going for the sci-fi, or if you're going for, I got some good nautical fiction or something, you just see it go right under your eyes. And that didn't happen this year, so they must have gotten a little more strict with them.
Yeah. So
I've seen it at other things, you know.
Eric Peterson left a comment saying that he's going to Bookstock tomorrow. I would love to hear what Bookstock is. But hello, Eric, and hello, Liz. Booksellers with their scanners are awful. Yeah. When a long time ago, I used to just do eBay for a living. That's all I did. And it was before smartphones, and it wasn't that bad, but as soon as like the phones got involved, and people could start like scanning every single thing to see what was worth money and what wasn't, it got really cutthroat, and I just didn't care anymore. So yeah, we used to do swap meets and stuff like that all the time, doing stuff like that.
It's I mean, I run my own book sale in the fall at the library, and I just don't allow it. We just say we just put an end to it. We see him doing that, and we just ask him to leave. Because living in a little town, all those people are going to come back and talk to me later if they get treated rudely. Yeah. So yeah. As far as Bookstock goes, the Bookstock I'm used to, and it's in Woodstock, Vermont. And it's a nice event because they have author at different buildings in this town. It's like the quintessential Vermont town.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, so you know, it's like Vermont authors like Howard Frank Mosher, but then national authors and things like that. So that can be fun. Bookstock's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Wow. I'm kind of jealous now.
You have more bookstores than I do. I'm just telling you. I have to go visit Steve in Boston to go to a bookstore, okay?
How was the Brattle? Was it amazing?
It's everything he said it was. Of course, you're going with a... I wouldn't dare say minor celebrity. You'd have to be upset with me. I said minor. And he's a great host. And I like the lot outside, you know?
Yeah.
They've got, I think it was 1, 3, and 5 books, and you're just looking at the titles. You're like, I'm always looking for stuff like this, and I never see it, you know? So it was fun.
You did bring up, just so the chat knows, in case you don't know how we did this last time, it seemed to work out well. Chat amongst yourselves. I'll try to jump in and see stuff when I can. But at the end of the show, we'll open up the chat area for questions and comments, and we'll go through and do all that there. But you said that there was a lot of Star Trek at the thing today. Yeah?
Yeah. I got a technical manual, got compendium. I got a signed Walter Koenig Chekhov paperback. His Chekhov book. It's one where he was, when they did the motion picture, he kept like a diary.
Oh, nice. Like what's that, the Jaws log?
Here, I got it right here, if I can do this without breaking my neck.
Oh my god.
Then we opened it up, I got it for 50 cents, and there he is.
Oh my gosh.
So, that was sort of nice.
Yeah, that's
you
the
find
best.
Stuff once in a while, right?
When you find signatures in books, I have a Pink Flamingos script that I got on eBay for like $1, and it's like the paperback version of it, and it was signed by John Waters. But
yeah,
no one
awesome.
That wasn't said in the description. It was just like inside, and
they didn't see it.
No, so that was one of my favorite finds. But I was going to ask you, because you watched Star Trek and have kind of been with Star Trek since the beginning-ish. And
no issue about it. I'm old enough to be.
And so
and they had their 50th anniversary. It's not a good sign for me, because it's a lot more than 50.
So the first was the first book made, was that Spock Must Die, or did they do start the episode books first?
I think they did the episode book first. I grew up in a really little town, but my dad went to college later in life, which was sort of a new thing back then. And I ended up in a larger town, Bangor, Maine, and they had a bookstore. So by the time I showed up, that both were out. And then like David Gerald's, he did a Trouble with Tribbles book that was also the story about how it was made. It wasn't just a story, it's how it was made.
Yeah.
That was so cool. He was quite a young fellow when that happened. So a lot of those were already Spock Messiah, Spock Must Die, the Blish novelizations. They were all available when I had access to them. So yeah, when I grew up, when I lived here, I mean, we still had an icebox. When I moved to Bangor, I moved to the modern world. So yeah, it's so a lot of that was there. But I did watch the shows in Vermont when I was little. I saw the shows before I saw the books.
How much time passed between the show ending and the first batch of books coming out?
I don't know, because again, I wasn't aware of them. I didn't have access to them. But when I saw the Blish books, well, I don't think it was much longer that the Alan Dean Foster, the log books for the animated, were already coming out. So that would have been what, the 70s, I think, mid 70s. My big thing, even though I grew up with Star Trek, is I got the first issue of Starlog, and when Starlog came out, of course, we were all waiting for Star Wars.
Yeah.
So that hadn't happened yet, and that was what the big deal. I mean, I love Star Trek, but we didn't know what Star Wars was going to be. So that's what, when I was younger, what we were really waiting for, because we didn't have much.
Yeah. Well, Steve Donahue popped up in the chat, so I'm sure he'll be able to drop when everything was released and by who. And
he's better at that for sure.
What
and
point
he's going to find out that I destroyed his Brattle book bag today, trying to carry too many books in it. But I was a cool kid. I had a Brattle bag while I was standing in line, you know.
Oh man, did you get spotted?
Oh yeah, there was to be a cool kid, you have to have either the Strand, book bag, or Powell's, or Brattle. You know, it's sort of fun.
Yeah, me, I just have to go into a bookstore and have a panic attack and be really anxious and sweaty. And then everyone knows that I'm very serious and legit there.
There you go.
So you had a video not too long ago where you were driving home from the library, and I thought that you were quite close to the library, but you seem to be on a highway for quite some time. So
about 12 minutes.
Oh, okay. It's not like a super...
Yeah, it's strange because my library is in actually a hamlet. It's not even a town. It's not even a village.
Oh, nice.
And and that's typical here. It's very, very rural. That interstate you saw me on is one my dad hated because it was built when I was a little boy and it bypassed his gas station by about 10 miles. He wasn't happy. But between me and there's just little teeny villages or hamlets scattered around, but there's not much population.
And what makes a hamlet? Like, what's the exact number? It doesn't
qualify to be a village. It doesn't qualify to be a village. Like, we live in a town, and there's one village in the town, and there's all these little hamlets. But over history, the hamlet where I'm at ended up with most of the government buildings.
All right. Okay, sorry, I was trying to get that situated. I'm this close from having the show be legit, so.
Glad I was here in the early days. I feel like Carlin.
Oh man. Okay, so the real question. As soon as I said, oh my god, I'm going to do this Booktube live thing, it's going to be so awesome, I'm going to have Mark on. It was my first thought, because I was going to ask you, why the hell do libraries put so many frickin' stickers on the cover of a goddamn book?
So it doesn't end up in your library.
Is that really it, just to keep from theft now? Like
no. A librarian's job is organization. Everything is organization, and everything is tracking. I think as technology gets better, you'll see less of it, not more. And some of these big libraries, of course, they can track the book the whole time you're walking around with it.
Yeah.
But that's very expensive. We haven't gotten there yet in the smaller libraries. We put a barcode. We stamp on each side. I actually showed in the video once. I think one of our donors from Booktube who sent us some books. So I walked through it. So I have to be able to track it with a barcode. I have to have a stamp with identification because it is town property. It belongs to the town. I mean, the taxpayer paid for it, so there's no way to identify it. And but we try to minimize it, like those Sanderson books with all the nice artwork on each side of the end papers. Then we'll actually adapt and try not to ruin things or descriptions or important blurbs. We try to avoid it as much as we can.
On a percentage-wise, how many books, when you guys have your book sale, leave the library every year?
I'm not quite sure I understand how you mean that.
Like, do you guys go through where you like sell off some of your inventory to make room for more stuff?
Oh, we have manual, a national manual used for reading with standard reasons you do it. Most of our book sale books are donated.
Okay.
So most book collectors don't want ex-library copies. I don't like them at all. I have one ex-library copy in my whole library. It's because I could never get the book otherwise. And that's Trillion Years Free, The History of Sci-Fi by Aldous. And it was discarded. I try not to sell them too much.
I have an enormous amount of library books in my collection, and it's mainly because of buying stuff on like Abe.
Right.
And the thing that's hard is when I'm getting like hard case crime books that have like the awesome artwork or the McGinnis artwork or anything like that, and like I'll get it. There'll be like 17 stickers on the cover, man. It's just, but I can't like walk away from $1 book.
I'm going to tell you why there's 17 stickers on the cover of a hard case crime novel. Maybe you can figure it out on your own. When I got that nice lady from down the street trying to pick up a Danielle Steele, and she sees the cover of a hard case crime novel, I tend to find something to do.
Yeah, this guy has a gun, this girl's in a slip that's barely covering her, and this guy's bleeding on the floor.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but man, there are some stickers on those things. Because I remember when I used to go to the library, like, it would be like you open the book, and all of the barcode and the little card pocket. I'm dating myself here, I guess.
No, there would be no barcode if you were dating yourself.
But like everything would be like on the inside, you know? But yeah, that makes sense because there was one book that I borrowed from a library and then moved and then never returned. And then, yeah. In fact, when I was... I had like one of those moments where you're not sure what to do with yourself. I was living in Burbank, and when I was a kid, there was this book series called Crestwood Monster Books, and they were like little hardcover square books, but they would like tell the story of like all the Universal monsters or King Kong or Godzilla, and it had pictures from the movie and just like tell what it was, and that was like my first entry into horror, really, as a kid, and Frankenstein and all that other stuff. And I hadn't seen those since I was like in 3rd grade, and then I took my daughter to the library in Burbank, and they had almost all of them, and I checked them out like on her card or whatever, and I had my friends over, and I was like in my mid-20s here. It wasn't even like, I don't know, but we all sat down and we thought about it, and we're like, are we going to steal these books? Like, is this going to be a thing? Because I hadn't seen those books in forever. But I ended up not taking them. I took them back to the library like a good boy. But I was this close to heisting.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the popular stuff, to be honest with you, if I've got a wall of Patterson or Baldacci and stuff, I might pay you to take them. You know what I mean? I have nothing against the writers. It's just they produce so fast, and I'm a small library. I can't keep every square inch of shelf space is almost like a retailer. Everything is money.
Yeah.
And when they're taking and I admire them for working so hard, but oh my gosh, you can't keep up with it.
What was the biggest surprise book that people were asking for that you didn't have or didn't even think of getting because it was kind of like a sleeper hit that just like exploded? Like,
I would say actually it happened this last week, and it's one that's been out for a long time, but I guess a new movie's coming out, and I think I can generalize about the patron. It was an 80-year-old lady, and she wanted 50 Shades of Grey, and she wanted it now. So, you just, you know, if they're reading, they're reading. Everybody's happy.
Nice. So when you're in a situation where, like, it probably happens more when a movie comes out, I would assume,
Right.
that all of a sudden, like, tons of people are coming in asking for the same book.
Yeah, it does happen.
What's the turnaround on that? Like, how soon can you get it for people?
Well, because we're so small and I don't keep a lot of that stuff, we interlibrary loan them. We have a courier service, but being so small, we're on the courier statewide group once a week. So if it misses that week from the library, it'll take another week. So it can be about 2 weeks sometimes, depending on what day you ask for.
Yeah. Well, I obviously haven't really been in a library a lot lately because I buy a lot of stuff, but there are certain, like, questions that I just don't know if they're valid questions anymore. But, like, is the Dewey Decimal System still a thing?
Oh yeah, like I said before, categorization is everything to a librarian. And I hear of libraries that try to set themselves up like bookstores, and I just say they're setting themselves up for failure. You need to be able to find what it is and make the book related to what is around it. So, to me, that's the problem with the internet. If you go into a library and you know you want that SPQR, that Mary Beard Roman history book, and you know about that, but you don't know about anything else, so you go there to get that book, well, you're going to see a whole shelf, or maybe walls of shelves if you're in a big enough library, of similar books on the same topic, all together, and that serendipity may lead you to an author that's perfect for you. It works in every category, just that for an example. You don't get that. You get a little bit of it in a bookstore, but how many times have you been in a bookstore and you finally find the book you're looking for and you're like, why is it here? It makes no sense to me. So there's Dewey, but there's Library of Congress. There's tons of systems, but you have to have a system. And by the way, librarians are the ones who set up Amazon system, because most librarians are computer trained, and they are the ones who set up how you even find your Amazon.
Like the algorithms on Amazon and stuff.
Yeah, they do all that, because Amazon is very smart at making money. They're not going to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah,
they're not going to put it up as Dewey Decimal, but they're going to hire people to set up their system who are trained to do that.
To do those things, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it hard to be a librarian when you don't read every genre, or you're not on top of every single trend in every genre?
Yeah, and that's why I came to Booktube. It's impossible. We all have our blind spots, and we all have our opinions about things, but I came to Booktube because I could find people who were in the genres. Now, I'm not very big into young adult, but it's part of my job to serve young adult patrons.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I watch Steve Donahue so much. Not only, he reads a lot of similar things that I do, but he reads a lot more. He was able to give me lead time, so I can order the book.
For sure.
And I'm ready for it. But with the YA booktubers, they've done me a great service, because it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
And if I see some generated excitement, then I'm able to, to do my job a little better.
So how did you become a librarian, basically? Like, what path did you go down to do that?
It's not like a lot of people. I have not been a librarian very long. It's a second career. I started out of high school as in the Coast Guard for quite a long time, and then I sort of got into this niche in law enforcement because of that background, and I never really liked it much. Went back to college, studied archaeology and theology, and did a lot of that sort of thing, and then ended up back in the law enforcement type stuff. So no, I can't stand this. I wanted to be a librarian, so I went back to school.
So there's like a actual college set of courses you have to take in order to do that?
Yeah, so I went, to make sure I was doing the right thing, I got an associate's in library technology. And then when I said, okay, I do like it, I got a master's in library and information science from Clarion University in Pennsylvania.
Right on. And
so,
continue.
So you do everything from, categorization of things. You do history of libraries, history of the book, tons and tons of cataloging courses, how to operate a library, because being a public librarian is a very political job.
Yeah.
So you take a lot of the courses that you would imagine. It doesn't take, you would think that, okay, that makes sense. So I might do a whole course on reference, and then reference in the humanities, all that sort of thing.
How, is there like a big need for librarians right now?
Yeah, it's getting bigger because it's heavy on computer training. If you go to your hospital, they probably have a library. So they have a specialized medical library. Corporations have libraries where they want to categorize their documents. They want them readily available to be found.
Yeah.
And they tend to work closely with IT departments. Of course, all museums, public libraries. There's more public libraries in the United States than there are McDonald's. So there's a place to work.
Oh, wow. That's wild, man.
Yeah, so in academic libraries, and I worked in archives a little bit, so there's tons of things you can do.
Wow. Yeah, I never even thought about all that other stuff, man. So, what are you reading right now? Like, what's the thing you're reading right now that you're digging the most?
I'm finishing up Patrick O'Brien, the third one. I'm almost done with the first, Brandon Sanderson. It's the first one I've read. And what else am I always have 6 or 7 things going. I'm reading Mary Beard book on Pompeii, and I don't know what else. I've got books scattered all over.
How do you like
my schedule? I bounce from book to book.
Yeah. How do you like the Brandon Sanderson?
When I looked at each one weighing 40 pounds, and I've read fantasy for a long time, and I'm sitting there thinking, not another one. And maybe I didn't give him a chance early on, and I tell you, I'm impressed. It's a Stormlight Chronicle, the first one I'm reading, and I'm impressed. I really care about the characters. I want to know what's going to happen.
I never knew he was such a big author, because I came to him through a podcast he does called Writing Excuses, where him and a couple other people just like talk about the craft of writing and stuff like that. And I always heard him talking about his books, but I had no idea that like people actually read his books. Right. And when I got on Booktube, I started seeing all these people like just banging on about him, and I'm like, oh my god, he's like a real fucking guy. And like,
and the production value of the books is unbelievable.
Yeah, they're fucking crazy looking. I haven't read any of them yet because they weigh 40 pounds.
Right.
Look, this is the new dog, in case you missed it. And she's got an awesome little skull and crossbones collar. And I put a bell on her because I can never see her when I'm walking around, and I don't want to kill her. But she figured out how to walk quietly so the bell doesn't jingle. And it doesn't. It barely jingles now when I shake her. So, for those of you who are wondering about the dog, that is the dog. when you get, because you're one of the few people who I've seen on Booktube, really like look out for like Folio Society editions and oh man, what's that other one with the silk end papers that are slowly...
Eastern Press.
Yes. Yeah. When you get those, do you get those to replace copies that you have of those books, or do you keep them as like museum pieces that you never look at, like that you never read through?
So the Patrick O'Brien, Norton did a beautiful set of oversized paperbacks of those, and I had those because somebody told me how great they were. When I saw that Folio Society was doing them, my wife wanted to get them for a present, so I actually gave those away and waited to get them in folio to read them that way because they add so much other things like the photographs and the artwork and all that. Sometimes I pick them up. If I pick them up used, it may be to replace something, or it may be just that I want to have it and I'll get to it someday. So it mattered. Early on, I had collected the Eastern Press science fiction.
Yeah.
And it kills me because I had like Dune signed by Frank Herbert. I had everything, and that all went away in a divorce. So, yeah. So I almost didn't start collecting again. And then one day I just started, because it was heartbreaking. I had about 3,000 books, and some of them I'll never find again. But I started again because it's fun. I get them because I think they're well made. I think a book that's a piece of art itself, it's just a benefit.
But
I buy paperbacks too, so
yeah. There's I saw the folio edition of Metamorphosis, and it is the most beautiful freaking book I've ever seen in my life, and it's one of those things where like every time, because like at least once a month I'll sit there and like go online and go, okay, I'm gonna get myself something good right now,
right.
And it's always just sitting there going, get it, and I just haven't done it because I have weird collector issues, and I feel like if I start getting Folio Society books, I won't get other stuff, and I'll just get Folio Society books because that's
I think some people do that. I don't see any point. Like today, like we were talking earlier, when I found the Star Trek paperbacks, I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
And they're never going to be Folio Society, I guarantee you.
No, totally. Yeah. Like, I love my paperbacks, don't get me wrong. But when I usually have like one thing at a time that I kind of go crazy about, that I'm like going, okay, I have to get all of these before I can start collecting anything else, kind of thing. And I don't know if you've ever seen her channel, but there's a channel called Book Cravings.
Love it.
Oh my God. Like,
she's very smart and she knows her stuff.
How does she not get robbed? Like,
well, they don't show the picture of the two guys with machine guns outside the door, I guess. She's got some beautiful books.
Oh my God. It's just like, I can't. It's very frustrating. I could admire things, and like your library is insane. And the funny thing is, whenever we watch your channel, Zoe is like in the throes of a panic attack because like she's like, oh my gosh, and like we both have our phones out and we have Goodreads open, and we're just like, she's just like going, oh, want to read. But we have some same taste. Oh, she loves your stuff, dude. Fiction. Yeah, she really does.
And Gerald Durrell.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to have to read that book just to be able to talk to her.
She has. That's the thing she's been doing. She gets every issue, every copy of Moby Dick and My Family.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell. Yeah. Like if she sees those, no matter how beat or ripped or whatever, like, she'll snatch those up. And since Zoe's parents are here, we've been kind of forcing them to watch Booktube, and they love your channel.
Oh, thank you. That's neat.
So we've been watching a lot of your stuff lately, and this barking of the thing that you said isn't a real dog. Oh my gosh, I feel like she's gonna do a backflip every once in a while. Knock it off. Okay.
You need to get a Newfoundland to keep her company.
Hey, come on. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? She's running backwards now. Okay, here we are.
That was great. Why am I always in these episodes?
Oh, here we go. There she is. Okay, got her. Sorry. So that was awesome. And I just want to say, I am hugely impressed with how well you're doing in the chat and doing this. No one has done that before.
What's that?
You're in the chat.
Oh.
Answering questions left and right. Did you not know you were in the chat?
I'm not in the chat.
Okay, because Richardson Reads is in the chat, answering questions and stuff. So.
Oh, maybe it's Richard Reed. No.
Nope, that's you, dude.
Wow.
Wow, you're amazing. You don't even know.
You know, I've heard that before.
Oh man, that's good. Oh, when you get Wife is Handy. Yes.
Yeah, I may be in trouble. She's saying anything really weird.
All sorts of stuff.
Yeah, well, none of it's true.
Do you guys at the library, or like in general, if this is something that you think happens or not, when new editions of the same book come out, how important is it to get something like that?
It matters. We talked earlier about if there's a movie tie-in.
Yeah.
If ours has been damaged, then this is a better, sturdier copy. If there's an important forward or scholarly apparatus with it, that makes a difference. Sometimes we're so limited for space.
Yeah.
We don't do a lot of it. But I noticed on Steve's channel today he had a new translation. Can't remember if it was the Iliad or the Odyssey. It was the Iliad. If it's going to get traction, and we've already got Fagles or Lattimore, those, we may go ahead and get the new one. It matters what kind of reaction the patrons are going to have. And
then for your personal library, how much does that matter?
Something like that with a translation. I'm not linguistically talented enough for it always to matter that much. I have several translations, and some are prose, some are poetry, to try to get to that level, but I'm not. So, a lot of times I don't bother. I mean, if it's something I have in paperback and it's going to be something nice, if it's important enough, I'll try to do it.
Yeah. Like, I just...
Remember that Star Trek thing there with Blish? Something like that I'll do, because it's $25, but I'm not going to do a lot of
And I was at Barnes & Noble last week, and I was holding it again, going, okay, I just got all of these paperbacks, but this thing's gorgeous.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Like, do I pick this up? Do I not pick it up? But those Barnes & Noble editions are so freaking nice, man.
And they've got titles. They've got good titles. Where else are you going to have Michael Crichton of other bound volumes?
Yeah, like I almost got this big, giant, pink Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, I've seen it. It's pretty cool.
It's gorgeous. And like I have almost no desire to read through all of Alice in Wonderland. But I saw that book and I was like, oh my God, I want to go through this again.
That's like the annotated, like I remember when you were showing, you got the annotated Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Well, they have that with Alice in Wonderland. They have that with Wind in the Willows.
Yeah.
and books I've already read, but the annotations are just as much fun as, like, I think they did one. Didn't you have one on H.P. Lovecraft?
Yeah, I was just going to say, that one is so beefy. Like, I've been going through that a lot lately, and that's been so much fun. And the fun thing is, too, and I was going to bring this up about the other thing, because I just got, when I was at Barnes & Noble, I picked up the Grove Press edition of William S. Burroughs' Junkie, and I absolutely hate the artwork that Grove Press did on all of those books. I think they're the ugliest books that have ever existed, and I've never wanted them. But just on a whim, I picked it up and I started looking at it, and all of the extra content that's in there, they have like the omitted chapters from the original drafts in the back appendix and stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I ended up getting it, and I just won't look at it on the cover because it's disgusting, and I'm a big cover guy. So
remember when they did that with Kerouac? They had like the continuous scroll one.
For On the Road? Yeah.
Yeah. I bought it. Why? I read On the Road in the, like maybe 1971.
How
I really needed to go back.
Did you go through it like that?
Yeah, he was a big deal to us because I left home and hitchhiked for a couple of years when I was 16. So those were the literary guys I had an influence, as you can imagine. It was the time, and I probably bought that, that continuous scroll. Who cares, right? I bought it because it sits on my shelf. I'm never going to pick it up. But it was part of my life.
Now, if you can put this into words, what was it like when those guys, the Beat Generation guys, kind of blew up? Like, was it almost like a Beatles kind of thing for the literary community?
No.
Like, what was it like?
At least from my perspective, there was too much going on. I mean, I would get parts of it. I never read Ginsberg back then. I got like a part of the picture, the part that fit what I wanted.
Exactly.
Just like anything else. And now you look back, and it looks like this monolithic thing, where all these guys were such an influence. And most people didn't have a clue who they were. They could care less. And you would get... That doesn't mean you didn't find the bar. Just like Hermann Hesse was real popular at that time. And for that same group of people.
Yeah.
So you would pick and choose, or you might hear... But we didn't have instant communication constantly anyway.
Yeah.
So I Naked Lunch was 10 years after I read on. There's no real monolithic thing going on. It was just in the air.
I always wonder about that, because like even with like the Lost Generation with like Fitzgerald and Hemingway and
there's people who loved Hemingway, couldn't stand Fitzgerald. There's people who loved Fitzgerald, couldn't stand Hemingway. There was no, they weren't a group together.
Yeah.
Getting fights all the time.
Oh, it's so awesome. So if there's any questions in the chat, go ahead and start throwing them in there, and we'll get to those in a second. But I always wonder about that whole, like for instance, Bukowski. Like Bukowski is like completely legendary now, and I know that like even in like the early 70s when he kind of exploded in that scene, it was kind of a big deal. But looking back at it, it seems like it was like the second coming of Christ or something like that. And
I didn't even know who he was. At the time, you didn't even know who he was. Nobody heard of him. And maybe you heard about him in San Francisco.
It's
and maybe
so
if you're
weird.
into that rarefied air, that kind of literature, he really didn't. He has an impact. I don't want to belittle it, but in the greater scheme, we didn't know who he was.
Yeah, and just like the Russian authors, the like turn of the century, like I don't know if Like, how long does it take in the literary world for, I mean, probably now it's different with instant communication and all that stuff now, but like Notes from Underground was not a classic when it came out. You know what I'm saying?
And nothing is. Nothing is. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like music. You know, everybody thinks this is immortal. And 10 years later, nobody knows who you're talking about. and, you know, you got a few. I mean, man, you know, my kid, when I was at the book sale today, pointed out an Elvis book to me. I said, leave me alone, man. That ain't mine. But they disappear. I mean, the ones that become immortal, it takes a long time. And some people say, well, 50 years. I think it's even longer. I mean, you've got to have an amazing shelf life to even, you know, to be considered a classic. A lot of the stuff that everybody thinks is going to be a big deal now, they'll be telling their grandkids, and their grandkids will be going like this. What are they talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about, right? So 99.9% of them will be gone. Even the ones we think are huge now. So to have that kind of staying power when people do it is a pretty amazing thing. So you got to, you know, respect it when you see it. But
On the Stoop asks, actually, let me hit Eric Peterson's first here. What books are you looking forward to that are coming out in the next several months?
Geez, I don't really have anything on my radar right now. I've got so much. My primary thing is I like backlist books for the very reason we were just talking about.
Yeah. And
if there's hype, I don't care. I need it for the library, and I'll order things as they come out. I have to have every Bojalian book but I have a list of those off. For me personally, I'm just as happy reading through my Patrick O'Brien or rereading the Heinlein or something like that. So I don't really have anything right now that I'm looking for personally.
On the Stoop asks, what sort of shape is the public library system in the United States? In the UK, there's funding reductions have been forcing smaller libraries to close.
It happens, but we're in better shape. You're always going to have communities that don't support libraries. Library directors like me, we're constantly in a job of politics to try to. But we are in better shape. There's a lot of libraries, a lot of them doing good things, very healthy. There's always battles, and if you only look at the battles, you can feel like a lot of stress. But for the most part, we're doing pretty good.
He also asks, how well do you think libraries are represented / promoted on Booktube when so much focus seems to be on owning books and new releases?
That's a great question, and I think the only way for me to answer it is from personal experience. The other day I got a box of books for the library from Johnny Keene. I get stuff from Todd Oval. I've got another gentleman who will remain nameless who sends me books all the time for the libraries. So Booktube, and then the response when people see those books come into the library in the comment section has been great. So I think Booktube does a pretty good job. It's not the booktuber's job to do that. And I think of Mel's Bookland Adventures, one who talks about libraries all the time. It's the booktubers who are librarians, and there's quite a few of us now. It's our job to promote them. So for booktubers who are collecting on their own, if I want to have a conversation, it's me who needs to have the conversation about libraries, and I love their private collections too.
Liz asks, are ebooks more expensive for the library to procure than hard or softbacks?
Yeah, the whole ebook question is a great one. We buy data services for like Encyclopedia Britannica, reference works that have to be authoritative, that you can't get on the internet. We also buy, a lot of you in a lot of American communities, I don't know what it's like internationally, use Overdrive, so you can download ebooks.
Yeah.
And we pay for that. And it is expensive, so we do it as a consortium. A bunch of us get together. When I talked to other librarians, there was this thing in conventions and stuff where ebooks were going to be everything. And every time there's a new technology, you run into this. But there's still more bicycles sold in the United States than cars. So you got to take everything with a grain of sand. So we've hit an ebook plateau. So basically, ebooks did a number on paperbacks, but they cost us a lot. We don't make them the focus of our collections. We try to provide the service for those people, but we've seen a decline in interest in them, so we have to be careful budget-wise with them.
Is it, when you get that, is it just like a subscription service you guys have, or is it something where you're only allowed to have out so many copies of a certain ebook?
Only out so many copies. Just like when I buy a book for the library, the publisher knows we paid for the book. You know, so there's only so many copies that can go out at once, and you pay for those copies.
Eric Peterson asks, have you seen Booktube or podcasts start to drive more people into the library?
That's another great question. I am in a very rural place, but I'm also in a highly educated town. So Dartmouth's straight up the road. So we have a lot of people who want to buy their little, let me word this carefully, their weekend farm.
Careful.
Yeah, as a kid who grew up on a farm, when they've got their 2 goats, I'm not overly impressed, but that's okay. But they're a professor at Dartmouth, so, you know, that's the sort of thing. So they're not, I don't see social media and Booktube and that sort of thing driving them into the library, but I use Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff to promote programs, and I also use it occasionally to promote, I'll talk about Booktube.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get more people watching.
So, BiblioAtlas asks, why are my dogs so loud? And I do not know the answer to that. But BiblioAtlas also asks, what can patrons do to help their local libraries?
Vote. I just got through a miserable 3-month political battle, and you got to talk to people about voting. And one of the ways you do it is when you're in the library, talk to librarians. Say, hey, have you guys got anything coming up? Do I need to go to a town or city meeting? You got to be active. You also can ask, hey, I know you guys have a building committee. You need somebody to serve on it? Or a fundraising committee? Or can I join the Friends of the Library? It might cost you a few, minimal amount of money. And
yeah.
You can get involved in all this stuff. So people have to be involved or it goes away.
Do you mind going into the thing you were just speaking about, the 3-month battle or whatnot?
Yeah, I missed part of that because the screen froze up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. You mentioned something about you going through like 3 months of like something to do with the library, like the voting and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you're asking for money and democracy. He put up a sign where he was saying he didn't need a library and he misspelled library. So I had a wonderful public moment with that, explaining to everybody in the crowd why you might want to visit. But you get those things. It's a democracy. They've got a right to argue their point about where their tax dollars go. And it's my job to tell them and to make a good argument of why it needs to go to us. But it's exhausting because you're personally attacked. Things get personal in American politics right now. But we won. We're almost double the size of the library in the last 2 years.
Oh, nice.
And we got a new children's room, a new historical collections room, and all these things. So, and it's not, you could put my library in the foyer at the Boston Public Library and not notice it, okay? It looks like a kiosk. But for where we are, small public libraries matter.
Yeah. I think they do, kind of anywhere. I really want to. I think this is a generational thing for me. I went into our local library, and it was mainly computers when I went in, and I had never seen anything like that before. Holy crap. I think they're destroying the house next door. But I had never seen anything like that. Like, there were books there, but there were just rows and rows of computers. And there were a bunch of people...
Yeah, you have to have access.
Yeah. It was just like I had never seen anything like that. Because the library I grew up with looked like a library that you would think you would see in an old movie, because I am apparently not 12. And am having a hard time with that, apparently. But
well, I hear what you're saying. We have like 3 public computers, because there's people in our community that's the only way they can access the internet, and they need it.
Yeah.
We also are a Wi-Fi hotspot in the town, because we don't have a McDonald's. We don't have a cafe or something. But I did have a librarian about my age, and it's usually the ones my age, and now they're in a position of power usually, who came in and told me I had too many books. And I asked her why she chose this particular profession, because I couldn't understand it. So books are a perfect technology, print books. They're an amazing technology. And they have changed. The book that you buy now that's new is built on computers.
Yeah.
It couldn't be built any other way, So the technology changes, and it finds its appropriate outlet. Just like when I was a boy, you never saw windmills unless you lived in Holland.
Yeah.
I see them all the time now. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's an appropriate technology. It fits. So a library is the same thing. We need computers. We need databases. Especially if you're looking up something about medicine or the law or something like this, where it changes. But the printed book itself is also a perfect technology, and it has its appropriate spot.
For sure.
This idea that one thing's just going to wipe out everything else,
Yeah.
It's hard to sell buggy whips anymore, but you can still buy a bicycle. It just matters. Some things survive and some don't. Print books will be around for a long time.
BiblioAtlas asks, besides the obvious, how do public libraries support education?
Well, we make space available. We make, I have rooms now where children, they don't want a tutor in a public school because a child can't go there for some particular reason, or it causes embarrassment or problems. They use our room. I have a youth librarian who goes to daycares, several of them around the town, every week, reads books, and then donates books to the daycare. We get them library cards. They get excited about reading. We have movie nights. We have gaming, like with the PS3, where they come in and play. We do all sorts of things like that. So the kids just make it part of their life.
Right on. All right. That's gonna about do it. Is there anything else you would like to share about your channel and anything that's going on it?
No, I've been a little slow lately. It's been really busy. Trying to pick up speed a little bit. We posted something today, but it's been fun. I made a lot of good friends. I appreciate the comments. I try to get to them as quick as I can, but you make some great friends that way, and I very much appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
I appreciate and thank everyone in the chat. And next week we are going to have Amy from A Dusty Bookshelf. I always want to put 2 froms in there. So, and until next time, I will see you guys next week.